Hello and welcome to beautiful Muncie, Indiana, the home of the Muncie Central Bearcats and your Schweet Shiznitz podcast. I am your host, Jason White, and I am here with your co-host,
Krista White.
Hey, you introduced yourself today. That's awesome.
I'm trying.
And what?
I'm trying.
You're
I'm
trying.
learning.
Sometimes you're really trying, like when you don't introduce yourself.
Alrighty then.
So, what are we, Krista?
Here?
We're here, present and accounted for. We are a podcast where we like to review, we watch your favorite or least favorite 80s movies, and then we talk about them. We tell you the things we liked, we tell you the things we didn't like.
What was that review thing?
Review?
You said review. Did you just leave it out there hanging?
We review.
What do we review?
We review the movie.
Okay.
We tell you what we thought about it.
All right.
We tell you what we didn't think about it.
We rewind.
We rewind. We don't rewind because...
We do. We rewind time and go back to the 80s.
Back in time.
Rewind.
To the 1980s.
Be kind. Please rewind.
Though we don't watch these
that?
movies on VHS.
Rewind. Please be kind. Rewind.
These movies were originally on VHS.
Not at the movies.
If you watched them at home, if you went to your local library and picked up a copy, or if you went to your local video store.
Blockbuster.
Or, yes, Blockbuster. If you were in my small town, you may have went to the local grocery store where they had a video section.
Or the library.
Yes, the library I mentioned. And at our library,
Did you?
yes.
I wasn't listening.
At our library, you could actually check out a VCR if you didn't have one.
I don't know what any of these words are that you're speaking.
A video
you're really
cassette
old.
recorder.
You are old.
Though we didn't always use them to record, we would use them to play. Though back in the days before DVRs, you could actually use them to record. You could record movies straight off of HBO or TBS.
That was a dirty channel.
It was. My step-grandfather had a proclivity towards foul language.
Proclivity, that's a big word.
And as a result, my younger brother would refer to him as Grandpa HBO. Because HBO was the channel where they were allowed to say the bad words.
I see.
So Grandpa HBO, it's really funny because Grandpa HBO, as my brother referred to him, also was the grandpa who told Krista and I once about a man who he said he would not use the
Lord's name in vain.
Lord's name in vain. And once one of his friends said GD next to him, and he said that he was going to clear away because he did not want to be standing next to him when the Lord struck him down.
I heard that story.
So, with all of his proclivity towards profanity, apparently he had his limits.
Your P's are very pronounced.
I have
Maybe
very pronounced P's.
You should lick your lips and see if that helps your P problem.
Some pronounced P's.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll see what we can do about that.
So, this week, we went back to 1981.
Hold on, we're not there yet.
I want to talk about that. I can't talk about that?
No,
Why not?
We have to go through the steps.
We have to do this in Jason's order. Jason is very anal. Our show every week has to go in a certain order, and if it doesn't, he will have big problems.
Yes, I have been accused of being on a particular spectrum, though my therapist assures me that that is not the case. There are other people who question whether or not it is.
So I guess I better wait for Jason to tell me when I'm allowed to speak so that he can get the show exactly the way he needs it to be done.
You can speak. You just have to speak about the right things.
Maybe I want to do the show the way I want to do it today.
Alrighty then.
Apparently, I cannot. I cannot tell you what show we watched today or what year it was from.
We will.
But guess what? It was from 1981, and I already put that out there.
Yeah, it was from 1981. Because we haven't watched any movies from 1981 until now.
So what do you need us to do first?
Well, we're going to talk about what's on at the movies right now.
Your dog is running left, very fast bullet back and forth in front of the window.
If he runs any faster, he may be traveling through time.
Did you see that?
Yes, I did. I saw a flash of gray and white.
So
out of the corner of my eye.
What do we need to be doing here?
We're talking about what's going on at the movies now.
Do we really need to do that?
We do.
There he goes again.
So currently at the movies, we have such fantastic fare as The Secret Life of Pets 2.
You should stop saying the P's.
Because apparently...
Stop it.
Apparently there was such a strong desire after The Secret Life of Pets that people needed another one.
The good news is we don't have littles and we don't have to go watch these movies any longer.
So
Hey. This week we watched Arthur.
We may or may not have watched Arthur.
No, we watched Arthur.
We watched the PBS kids show about an aardvark named Arthur.
We watched the movie Arthur from 1981. I messed up your list.
And
it starred Dudley Moore.
In addition,
Liza
there
Minnelli.
is a new X-Men show.
Steve Gordon.
And it doesn't feature Steve Gordon.
No, it was written and directed by Steve Gordon.
So there is
Dudley
a new
Moore was
X-Men
drunk the whole
movie
time.
because the world has forgotten about the X-Men with all of the lovely Avengers
stuff
going on.
All the talk about Dudley Moore, they forgot about X-Men.
The X-Men are back, and nobody's watching them. It has bombed at the box office.
Did you almost curse? Did you go beep?
No, at the effing box office.
I wasn't going to watch it because I was too busy watching Arthur.
In addition, there is still a Godzilla movie out that everyone seems to be wanting to watch.
I'm not going to watch it.
And
I didn't like the first one. My dad made me watch it. It was boring.
The first one from like 1978?
Yeah.
Like the original Godzillas?
And then when there were boring Saturday and Sundays where we didn't do anything and it was on rerun, had to watch it again
and then
again.
The Kung Fu movies that were on PBS all day and all the Charles Bronson
Planet
movies.
Of the Apes. Planet of the Apes. All the time.
They are working on the new...
Come on, spit it out.
No, I lost my train of thought because you're over here...
because I threw out Dudley.
talking about Dudley and his more.
Because I threw out Dudley and Liza with the bathwater.
Yes.
Right before this week in movie news.
Lucille, too.
Yes.
And her lovely relationship.
She was a kleptomaniac, just saying.
She had some issues. So I guess we're going to get into this week's movie because someone apparently does not care what's going on in the world of movies right now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And so I guess
I need to get out and see Ma.
Ma with Octavia.
I said I wasn't going to see it, but I keep seeing commercials for it, and I'm like, trailers, maybe I need to just go see Ma.
With Octavia from the 100?
I prefer her to be Octavia from Shaq.
From the 100.
The Shaq.
You know, Octavia who kills everybody.
No, wrong person. She was God on the Shack. That's who she is.
The Love Shack. The Love
Except
Shack
I like the book better. The book, The Shack, was much better than the movie. The movie was pretty disappointing, but you never read the book.
The Love Shack,
Did
baby.
You?
Did you know that the guy...
Can you hear me talking? Did you read the book, The Shack?
Didn't.
And you should have, and I asked you to because it was so much better than the movie.
Did you know that the guy who wrote The Shack is friends with Steve Austin?
I did not.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I understood who you were speaking about.
Yes.
No, I did not know that.
That is a real life thing.
I like the movie, the movie. I like the book, The Shack, but like I said, the movie was a little disappointing compared to it.
But you have questions about Steve Austin?
No, but I need you to read the book because it's a really good book.
Okay, so at some point I might get to that.
Yeah, okay.
So for this week, we did not watch Ma. We did not watch...
Let's talk about this week in movie news.
The Shack. Okay, why don't we do that? What do you want to talk about?
What did your kid go see this week?
Booksmart?
No, yeah, it sounded pretty stupid.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's about.
No, it sounded pretty dumb. There was nudity and stuff that just didn't make sense. So
yeah, but Ma also has penis in it.
Well, you know, it's better than women's boobs all the time. That gets a little old.
There's probably that too, but
because I see my boobs every day, I don't need to go to the movies and see some more.
But because Ma has a penis, and penises are not that common in movies.
I'm not sure that Ma has a penis. I'm pretty sure that someone else from what I know, I'm pretty sure that they show someone else's penis and not Ma's.
So we don't get to see
Even
Octavia
though,
Spencer's
even though
penis.
she was God, I'm pretty sure that she was a female version of God, and there were no penises.
There was no Octavia's penis.
Anyway,
Octavia's penis.
this week we watched Arthur from 1981.
How does it feel to have all that money? Feels great.
I wouldn't know.
The dumb fresh.
What's so funny now?
I'm just think funny things.
What do you do for a living?
I race cars, I play tennis,
And I drink all day
fondle
long.
women, but I have weekends off and I am my own boss.
Dudley Moore is Arthur.
Do you wish you were me? I know I do.
Don't you wish you were Arthur? Arthur, the most fun money can buy. An Orion Pictures release through Warner Brothers.
I gotta be honest. His laugh drove me crazy the entire movie.
Yes, I edited the trailer down from 2.5 minutes down to about 40 seconds because the trailer is like 2.5 minutes and
him
a
cackling?
good 1:40 of it is him laughing.
I think it's cackling.
Yes.
That's not laughing.
And of the movie, I don't know the runtime. It's probably like 1 hour and 40 minutes
I think it
or
was like
something.
143, 145, whatever it takes.
And probably
Correct.
probably a good hour and 15 minutes of that
Same color, same
is
car.
him drunk laughing.
Yeah, I drove me crazy. I just wanted to reach in the screen and slap him.
So, Dudley Moore's character, Arthur, is drunk the vast majority of the movie.
Yes, and if he wasn't, he was getting there.
Yes, he was working on it.
Yeah, it drove me crazy.
So, he was
So now you know how I
a
feel.
real role model. He's the hero of the movie, and he spends the entire movie drunk.
I don't think you can call him a hero. I don't think he was ever a hero in the movie.
So this movie, of course, we know was a 1981 film because somebody
Because-
already threw that out there.
Because someone said, hey, we have not watched a movie from 1981. So go look and see what we can find from 1981. I'm like, why do we have to watch 1981? Because that's the only year we haven't watched one from yet. And I'm like, but what if I want one from another? Well, we don't have to, but we should. So
Yeah,
this is all Jason's fault.
I mean, we could have watched Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I wasn't feeling it.
We could have watched Mommy Dearest, but that looked really depressing.
I mentioned that.
It's like the original Lifetime movie.
It can bring up issues from past, and it could make you have to go
We
to
could have
see
watched
your counselor.
Halloween 2 or Friday the 13th
I wasn't done.
2.
You might have to go into therapy, more therapy, and the bills were going to rack up. So we didn't watch Mommy Dearest.
But we watched this movie. This movie was nominated for 4 Academy Awards.
I don't understand that.
The best song,
No, I did like that song. I can sing it right now.
Arthur's Theme.
Yeah.
It was nominated for best screenplay.
Now my husband says, you know what's really weird? The song Arthur's Theme was out a year before the movie,
2
and that doesn't
years.
make sense. You told me a year. You lied to
1979.
me. He said, how's that possible? I don't know.
So it won. It actually won. The song won
You sure
the
it didn't
Academy
get
Award.
renamed later?
It probably did get renamed.
Yeah, see, I think that's what you're missing. When it was really out the first time, it wasn't called that.
So it won.
Isn't it called Fall in Love or something?
The Best That We Can Be or something like that?
The best that we can do.
Maybe.
The best that we can do is fall in love.
It's like Arthur's Theme.
It's like when you get caught
parentheses.
between the world and New York City,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was renamed. I think that's where you were missing something.
But it's known as Arthur's Theme in parentheses, the best that we can do.
I like peanut butter
And it's by Christopher Cross.
and chocolate.
Reese Cups.
That is good together. Do you remember those commercials when you were a kid?
Reese's Cups,
when
Reese's
somebody
Cups.
when somebody was walking down, like downtown somewhere, and they're eating their chocolate, and the other person, which it doesn't make sense, they're walking
Just
also
eating a jar of peanut
down
butter.
the sidewalk with a jar of peanut butter, eating it. Which I don't know who does that. I eat peanut butter by the
But not
with the
just
jar,
walking
but
down
not
the sidewalk,
right.
usually in the living room.
And they're not. Neither one of them are paying attention, and somebody trips or something, and their chocolate bar fell into this person's jar of peanut
and they're
butter.
like mad at each other.
And they're
You
like,
got your chocolate in my peanut butter.
Your chocolate fell in my peanut butter. No, your peanut butter got all over my chocolate. And they stop, and one of them takes a bite, and they're like, The other one's like grabs it and like, they're like, this is incredible.
However, what nobody ever realized is that the peanut butter in Reese cups does not taste anything like the peanut butter in a jar of peanut butter.
It does not. Even Reese's peanut butter in a jar does not taste like the peanut butter in their
it
Reese's
tastes
cups.
more like the peanut butter in a Buckeye, which has a lot more sugar in it.
Oh, you mean the one in their cup? The pieces cup?
Yeah.
The pieces cup? That is true because it does have a lot more sugar in it.
Yes.
So there's our take on that. But you know what? I like them together in the candy, but I also like peanut butter, just peanut butter, but it has to be Peter Pan.
And I also like Buckeyes. Not the people, mind you.
You don't like anyone from Ohio?
I mean, they're okay, but we're from Indiana.
I want to
so-
make it clear that Peter Pan is the best peanut butter.
Right,
And I like it by the spoonful.
right. Choosy moms choose Jeff? No. Those moms are
Stupid
dumb.
moms choose Jeff. Just saying.
And then moms who choose Skippy should probably be institutionalized.
They should just go skip down the road. I'm just saying. But anyway, I
Good
mean, I just
moms-
needed everyone to know.
Good moms choose Peter Pan.
That's right. That's right.
So if your mom chose Jeff or Skippy,
She was a
we
bad mom.
apologize. You had a bad mom.
Bad mom.
So
And if she chooses that stuff that is just that you see in the health food stores that separates,
that has all the oil on
She's
top
whack.
of it, yeah. I'm sorry for all the
you
therapy
need
bills
therapy.
you have.
Yeah. I
But,
mean, not saying I didn't
that
have that at
stuff
some
is
point
bad.
too. It's
and
just bad.
and it's like grainy. It tastes like it's got sand in it.
But what you need to know is my kids get Peter Pan. They don't
And
get any
it's
of that
all
stuff.
natural Peter Pan.
Yeah, there is no high fructose corn syrup in my kids' Peter Pan. No.
You know.
So don't think that my kids are just eating junk food Peter Pan. No, they get the stuff that has no high fructose corn
It says
syrup.
all natural right on the front of the
Right,
jar. But
right.
there's also no oil on the top.
Right.
You don't have to stir
It
it.
says that too on it.
So I don't know how they mix those two.
I don't either.
Whatever magic Peter Pan does to pull that off.
But he can be all magical.
But
I don't
you
care.
know, Peter Pan's a fairy. He has fairy magic. Mm-hmm. You know, well, he's not a fairy, but he hangs
yeah.
out with Tinkerbell.
Right.
And he can fly. So
Right.
he's got some stuff going on.
So now that Reese's is gonna and Peter Pan are gonna owe us money for this whole
Right.
spiel that we did. So if you want to know how to send us Peter Pan and Reese's,
You
email
can
us.
contact us on our website. You can email us at sweetshiznitz@gmail.com.
Right. And
you can-
we really love it when it is like near a holiday, like near Easter or any of those holidays when they turn them from regular cups into like the egg domes and stuff because they put extra peanut butter in them.
Yeah, we have a friend here in town who makes Buckeyes and he puts bourbon in them.
We do. Oh, him. Okay.
Yeah, and
We
those are
haven't
really
had any
good.
of this for a while because
No,
we haven't been invited.
We moved
over
away for a
the-
while,
yeah.
and then I don't know that they've even done New Year's Eve since then.
I think they did this
They
year. I saw
got-
pictures.
They got old, and
No, I saw pictures. They did. We stopped being invited to the parties because we left for
we
5
moved
years.
away for a while.
We came back and didn't get the invite.
So I miss those.
So-
So if by chance you hear this and you know the people I'm speaking
Or
of,
you are the people.
then New Year's Eve, hit us up. We would love
I made Buckeyes before.
some bourbon Buckeyes.
My Buckeyes are good. I just don't make them anymore. I fell and my knee got all messed up and had 2 surgeries, and now things just aren't the same. But if you want to start inviting us to your house to hang out, because you think we're fun.
Particularly if you make bourbon Buckeyes.
Jason
but even
seems
if
to
you
have
don't.
a thing for bourbon Buckeyes, but you can hit us up.
And these, they don't even cook the bourbon out of them. They're just mixed in
You
with the
still want
peanut
to talk
butter.
about the bourbon Buckeyes?
Yeah.
I'm not a big drinker, folks, so
He would put pecans on top of them so that people knew not to feed those ones to their
Or
kids.
if he saw his kids picking one up, he could hit him from across the room.
Right, throw a
We
shoe
should
at him.
probably move on now.
So, speaking of bourbon and drinking, we watched Arthur, which
Yeah.
was about Dudley Moore.
Who drink all the frickin' time.
Oh, we were talking about the awards. Dudley Moore was nominated for Best Actor. He did not win. The Best Song, Arthur's Theme, did win.
Good song.
It was nominated for Best Screenplay, which it did not win. And our friend, the butler, and I have to look him up because for some reason I don't remember
How
his
could you
name.
forget the butler? He was a very distinctive man. He was very intelligent. He took care of Dudley Moore,
Yes.
Arthur. How could you not know
And
his
honestly, in my personal opinion,
name? The P's, Jason.
in
Tone
my-
down the P's.
in my personal opinion,
yes.
he was the funnier character. in
Even
the
though
movie.
he didn't know it, from what I hear.
Yes, he did not quite get the humor of the movie.
He was English.
Well, so was Dudley Moore.
Well, I don't know. Dudley Moore was
Yes.
drunk. I think
Hobson, who was played by Sir John Gielgud.
there you go. He was a sir. He was a little too.
He wasn't a
uptight.
sir at this point. He became a sir
No,
later.
don't tell me why he was or wasn't. I don't think you really know.
He got knighted. He was nominated
Hey,
for
I
best
was a knight. I am a knight.
a Northeastern Knight.
That is correct. That's where I went to school. I'm a knight.
But
I'm
he-
knighted.
He won
I'm knighted.
best supporting actor.
Did you know that you're married to a knight?
Apparently.
P's. Watch your P's, Jason.
Apparently.
Anyway, he won an award for supporting actor.
He won best supporting actor.
Best supporting actor.
Best supporting actor.
That's better. Let's move on.
He won best supporting
Okay.
actor.
Okay. You're talking about awards. We can move on from this one.
So
So did Liza win any? Liza Minnelli?
Liza did not. She was nominated for a best supporting actress Golden Globe,
But she didn't win.
but she did not win.
That's too bad. This was a very young Liza Minnelli.
Yes.
I'm used to seeing her on, where did it just went? It just left me. What's the show?
Yes, Arrested
No,
Development,
that's
where
the
she
show.
plays Lucille too.
Where she's much older than this.
The nemesis of Lucille, the
Yeah.
mother of the Bluths. Mm-hmm. And also the lover of Job and,
and,
what's his brother?
Yeah, Gob. No, Gob is Job.
That's Job.
I don't remember
Buster.
the youngest Buster.
The special
Dear
Bluth.
Lord.
I mean, they're all kind of special.
Yeah.
But, and then in the last season, she disappears and nobody knows where she is.
Okay.
So she's mentioned a lot, but she doesn't actually show up.
So are you going to talk about what this show's about, or
So basically,
Do
the
we talk
show
about this?
is about Arthur being drunk,
he is a rich, spoiled man
who drinks all the time.
and does nothing for his money.
No.
He just spends it and spends it and drinks it.
And he drinks and drinks and drinks.
But his parents tell him one day, you have to marry. I think her name's Mary, actually.
Susan.
Oh, close enough. You have to marry Susan, this Susan chick, because if you don't marry Susan, then we are going to disown you and take away all of your money.
Well, this was after he showed up at a fancy restaurant with a hooker.
That's true. He did. He did. And he embarrassed his family. And his dad wasn't going to have it. He's like, hey, here's this Susan chick. And she is like up there. And she has money. And for some stupid reason, she's agreed to marry you. And
Yeah.
she knows that you don't love her. And she doesn't really care.
And they're like, your portion of the family wealth riches is 750 million dollars.
No. Your amount of the family money is, we don't need to say the word that starts with a P.
$700 billion.
And we need you to start
Or
being,
700 million.
We need,
Three quarters
we
of
need
a
for
billion.
you to start being an upright, upstanding citizen because you suck and you're embarrassing us. And we know that Susan is an uptight, very high-strung person, and we're hoping that she will turn you around.
And good luck to her.
And then one day he says, okay. And he's mad at his dad. So he goes to Barney's or a Macy's or one of the really expensive stores. And he's out with his butler.
Yes, and his driver.
And he sees these sweaters and he's like, I want to buy 12 of these. And they're all a V-neck green sweater. And the woman's like, don't you mean you want different colors? No, I want 12 of the green. Are you sure you want all green? Yes, I hate green and I like horrible in it. And she's like, okay, yes, sir. Do you want them wrapped? Are they for presents? No. I forget where he said to send them. But it was obvious that he was just wanting to spend his father's money, and I'm just going to say it, and piss him off. And then he looks across the room, and he happens to see Liza Minnelli. And she is stealing a tie, and she puts it in her bag.
Yes, and he's fascinated by
Yeah, he's like,
this.
did you see her?
And he's like, this is the perfect crime.
Hey, you're doing it again. This is the best crime, right?
Yes,
Best
the
crime.
perfect crime.
And he says, did you see her? And I don't remember if it was his butler or whoever's like, yeah, it was his butler. He said, she just put that tie in her purse.
And no one will suspect it.
And he's like, I saw her. Did you see her do it? No one saw her. Well, yeah, there's a manager like watching her from across the room and he's following her. And he's like, hey, he's following her. I know. Well, we should warn her. Well, you know. He keeps following her. So then all of a sudden Dudley starts following her. Should we call him Dudley? Probably not. His name's
Arthur.
Albert, Arthur, whatever.
Carl.
So he follows her out. And so does the manager. And then what happens, Jason?
And then they stop her.
Who's they?
The manager.
Mm-hmm. And she starts giving him heck.
And she's like, she starts being really accusational towards him.
She acts like she's a writer for the paper.
And she's going to write an article about them.
She wants his name, his position there. You can't say that word, by the way, Jason, because you have a problem
his position.
today. And she's like, I want your name now. What's your name? Who is your supervisor? Because I will be naming names. And she's got a pad paper out. You can't say that, Jason. And she has her pen out, and Jason can't say that.
And in.
And so he says, I want to see in your bag. I saw you take a tie. How dare you? And finally, Arthur comes over and says, is there a problem over here? And she just looks at him. And he's like, did you get my tie? Because I told her to put it on my tab. Did you get the tie I asked you to pick out? And she's like, well, yes, I did. Well, she better have put it on my bill. And he starts carrying on to the manager. And he says, well, let me see it. And so she gets it out for him. And then everyone knows Arthur and his family, so they will not do anything against him. I mean, he's like king around there. And he's apologizing all over the place and apologizing to her and all, yeah. And so all of a sudden, you know, he is just in awe of her. I don't know why. Probably
because he's
drunk.
fascinated. Well, he's fascinated by her, the way she handled them and the way she turned the tables on them by saying she was going to
write an
article and
with her paper and pen that you can't say.
Her feistiness.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's drunk the whole time.
Of course he is.
Because he's drunk the whole movie. So through all this, he's kind of fallen for her. But he sends her home in his
driver's car.
Right. Now, something that was interesting that I found out about was that the scene where she goes to get on the bus.
Oh, I saw that.
When they went to shoot the scene, a bus pulled up for her to get on. And she did, but it wasn't the bus from the movie. It was just a regular city bus. So when she got on the bus, they closed the doors and drove off with her because they thought she was just a passenger. And all of the crew members were laughing hysterically as she was driven up the road.
And she turned around and looked at them because she realized that it was the real bus.
Yes, that it was an actual bus and not the bus for the movie. So she had to make her way back to the movie set.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, even in 1981, I think you would think Liza Minnelli...
Yes, this movie was made in 1981, Jason.
Liza Minnelli would have been famous enough that maybe they would have...
know.
Plus all the cameras and...
Yeah, you'd think.
But apparently, maybe they just weren't that bright.
So he starts seeing Liza Minnelli.
Yes.
Well, whatever her name. What was her name?
Her name was Linda Marola.
He starts seeing Linda. And he starts falling for her. And she doesn't know that he... Well...
She knows he's rich.
While he's seeing her, he tells her at one point that he's going to have to break a date with her because he has to go get engaged that night. And he's pretty upset about it. And she's like, okay. Because she has no idea. She thinks he's single.
Right.
And she's pretty frustrated about it.
Yeah. Now, earlier, she'd gone to her dad and told him about this guy. And, of course, her dad being typical, dad, he's kind of protective, and he's like, is this guy any good? Is he decent? And she's like, well, he's filthy rich. And he's like, okay, you have my permission to marry him.
Yeah, even though that hadn't come up.
But apparently her dad was...
any word that has a P in it, you need to just think of another word before you talk.
Her dad was played by Barney Martin.
There it is again.
Barney Martin.
No, it was the played part.
And they had previously played husband and wife in the Broadway play Chicago.
That's gross.
Yeah, he did not seem the appropriate age to be her husband.
Nor did he look like he could be her husband.
So,
no, it was kind of gross.
So now that makes me a little leery of the play Chicago.
No, I don't think I've seen it, so,
I know when they made it into a movie, it had Richard Gere in it.
Julia Roberts.
Wrong movie.
Wrong Richard Gere.
Same Richard Gere.
Yeah, Pretty Woman.
Chicago.
It was filmed in Chicago?
Yes, I'm glad you're understanding.
Okay, well, let's move on in this movie, Jason.
So he gets engaged, and he's going along with everything, but his butler gets sick. And his butler is like, you can't just...
You have to be happy.
Yeah, you can't just go along with this wedding. If Linda makes you happy, you need to pursue her.
Listen, Linda, listen. Hey, is your mom's name Linda?
It is.
Is your mom Liza Minnelli?
No.
Oh, we probably would have a lot more money.
That would make Judy Garland my grandma.
We probably would have a lot more money if she were, but would we be as happy? I don't think that people who are stars are really that happy.
No. Well, Judy Garland died of a drug overdose. So.
Well, yeah. There's that. I think that a lot of stars aren't really that happy. But anyway.
So, I can't speak for Liza Minnelli, but her mom had some difficulties.
So, anyway, then his butler goes and pays a visit to Linda. And tells her about the party, the engagement party that's taking place where it is, and that he knows that Arthur really has a thing for her, and why he's marrying this woman because he doesn't have a choice. And so what does she do?
She
takes multiple
crashes the party,
buses and taxis to get there, and crashes the party.
And he's like, "What are you doing here? I was just in the neighborhood."
She pretends, she goes up to another guy because she's an attractive girl, and pretends, to be talking him up, and says, "Hey, pretend like we're saying something funny, and pretend like this and this." And he gets a little jealous.
And he comes over and sees her, and then they go out and talk in the horse barn. And then his fiance shows up.
You did it again. No peas for you.
I don't like peas.
And then she kind of...
Or lima beans.
What's kind of weird is she kind of... The fiance kind of makes you think that she's okay with him having other relationships, that she kind of expects it. That's how I thought she came across.
Right. At first, she just seemed like, oh, he's out here with another woman. That seems right.
And she kind of, said, hey, I understand, and, he needs to be happy.
But then Liza Minnelli tells this story, because Liza Minnelli is an expert liar. She can make up stories on the spot.
Are we talking about Liza Minnelli or Linda?
Both. So Linda makes up this story about
I hope
her
your mom
husband.
doesn't listen to this, and you say she lies.
She makes up this story about her husband, and that they have a kid who needs surgery, and her husband was college roommates or college buddies
with Arthur,
and he wouldn't come to him for money, so she's there because they need the money for his surgery, for their kid's surgery. And then Susan's like, well, of course we've got to help him. And then she leaves, and they're both laughing about it because she doesn't have a husband or a kid who needs surgery or any of that. It's all made up. But they're secretly in love, and then the wedding's coming up.
No, just stop saying
What's
it.
your favorite Pixar movie?
Can we just keep talking?
Mine's Toy
So-
Story 3.
I want you to stop talking. So, the movie starts. The wedding starts. And Linda,
Well, first he goes to her.
well, he gets drunk first.
Well, he was probably already drunk.
Because he was out all night drinking.
And he goes to Linda and he tells her
He says,
that...
Linda.
Linda?
Don't talk like your father, Jason. He says, Linda. Linda, I love you, Linda. I don't love her, Linda. I want to marry you, Linda. So come with me and we'll tell her, Linda.
And then they show up at the wedding. He shows up completely drunk, stumbles down the aisle. He stops and asks one woman where Susan is. She tells him, and then he compliments her hat.
Yeah, I don't remember that part, but I'm not surprised you do.
Well, because then Liza Minnelli comes in looking for him and stops at the same woman and then compliments her hat again.
So he finds her getting ready where she should be, and he tells her, and she screams and cries.
And then her dad
And then
comes
she
in.
starts yelling for her dad.
And her dad
Beats the crap
out of him. And then is getting ready to shoot him when...
No, stab him.
Stab him.
He has a knife.
He finds a knife on the table.
When Linda comes in.
And he's
says,
still...
how can you do this to him?
But then...
And she's holding him and cuddling him. And
But then Dudley Moore's dad comes in, who is the rich... whatever he is.
Duke of Earl.
Duke of Earl.
I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to say if it was going to make you sing.
Earl.
Okay, let's move on. My name is Earl.
I think I'm broken.
My name is Earl. Let's move on.
So he tells him to get his crap together and...
He's out.
Yeah.
Get
so
out.
They leave and then Dudley Moore stumbles out.
And sits on the step with Linda.
And now before that, he's all beat up and he goes out to the front of the wedding and he gives a speech to the people there about how there's not going to be a wedding.
Because of Linda.
Yes. And of course, he's still slobbering drunk and he's still stumbling over his words. And then the grandma tells him that he is still going to be able to get his money.
Because
of the wonderful things he does.
Because her grandson will never be poor.
Oh, because he tells them that he's going to be poor.
No, don't say he's going to be without money. Let's not say
and
poor.
He's fine with that, and he'll go get a job.
As long as he has Linda.
As long as he has Linda. And if he'll go eat tuna fish sandwiches.
There's something about her tuna sandwiches.
And he is going to be happy. He's had money all of his life, and he's never been happy. And she's always been poor, and she's always been happy. And she tells him she's going to give him the money because no one in their family is going to be poor.
Or eat tuna sandwiches. I don't know if that really was said, but...
Then they're sitting out on the stoop, and she's telling him all this, and he tells her... No, he's not interested. And then she's getting ready to drive off and he walks up to the car.
Because Linda doesn't want to tell him, what? Take the money.
And he comes back and Linda says, what did you say to her?
He says, I turned down her offer. And Linda says, really? And he goes,
yeah.
He says, yeah, not with the money, though. We're still rich, but I told her I didn't want to come over for lunch because I want to go home and for you to make me a tuna fish sandwich.
Yeah. So she invited us.
I'm not sure what the tuna fish is all about.
He said she invited us to dinner, and I turned down that offer because you were going to make me a tuna fish sandwich, but I took the money.
I'm not sure what the tuna fish has to do with it, but...
He says, I'm not an idiot.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I'm
pretty sure he's an idiot. But his butler, dies, man. Because he was really sick.
Yes, his butler did die.
He died.
But
he still had
did.
his driver.
He
He
did.
says to his driver, do you want me to double your salary? And his driver says, yeah. And he goes, well, get in the car and drive us. And his driver says, where? And he goes, to the park. You know how much I love to drive through the park?
Now, here's a sad bit of information. Dudley Moore passed
I
away.
don't want to hear any sad information, Jason.
Dudley Moore passed away in March of 2002.
No, Jason, what did I tell you? He's still alive. Don't
And-
listen to them. He's still alive.
In our hearts. And, excuse me, the actor who played his driver,
Killed him, ran him over
yes,
in the park. Jason can't get his crap together, people. He just keeps looking through his phone.
Ted Ross, who played his driver.
No.
Ted Ross also played the lion in the Wiz, which is only important because Liza Minnelli's mom was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
Those two are not connected. They did not act together.
So, but he passed away 6 months later in September of 2002.
That doesn't make a difference. You mean nothing here. Did you know that Carrie Fisher and Deborah Winger turned down the role of Linda?
I did, mainly because they didn't want to be forever known as Linda.
Linda.
Also considered for the role were Mia Farrow, Farrah Fawcett, Goldie Hawn.
Barbara Hershey.
Not
Like Hershey chocolate.
Yeah, but not Barbara Reese's Cup.
She wouldn't have turned it down. She's too smart.
Diane Keaton, Jessica Lange,
Bette Midler.
Betty Midler,
No.
Kilda Radner of Saturday
Susan
Night Live fame,
Sarandon.
Sybil Shepherd,
Meryl
and
Streep.
Sybil's other 9 personalities.
Meryl Streep.
Yes.
And the people who were considered for the role of Arthur are Jeff Bridges, Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, Bill Murray, Jack Nicholson, Sylvester Stallone, that would be weird, and Robin Williams.
Also Burt Reynolds, Tom Selleck, James Cain, Al Pacino, Robert Redford, and John Travolta.
Yeah, some of those would be real weird.
And Charles Grodin of Beethoven movies fame.
I see that. Wow.
So
That's a lot of people to be
it's
considered.
a lot of people. They did a lot of casting on this to come up with Liza Minnelli and Dudley Moore. So,
Jason, I've got a question for you. Does it get made today?
you know, I would think no, because like there's no real redeeming value to this movie. It's about a drunk guy who doesn't learn anything. There's no like moral arc to the movie. He never becomes a better person. He never like learns that being lazy and drunk and like doesn't pay off. He just continues to be lazy and drunk. His girlfriend is a compulsive liar and a petty thief. And there's no point where that doesn't pay off.
Your peas are getting stronger.
The peas are strong with this one.
I wouldn't want to watch this movie today.
But they did make it in 2011 with Russell Brand, who seems like the perfect person to play
Stop
a
saying
drunken...
that. Sailor?
Yes. What do you do with the drunken sailor?
Early in the morning?
So as much as I would love to say no, it appears there's at least an outside chance that it does get made today.
Well, I vote no.
I don't think it should, but it might. So before we move on, we will take a short break so you can empty your bladders and refill your drinks. Don't do that at the same time.
Go for it.
So you don't want to empty your bladder into your drink. That could be a problem. Especially if you're drinking Mellow Yellow, it could get confusing.
Hey, let's go.
So we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Show starts in 1 minute. Please remember to replace the speaker on the post when you leave the theater.
Darn it, I didn't have time to get my frozen yogurt.
They don't have frozen yogurt at the movies.
I'm not at the movies.
They have ice cream.
No, they don't. Not at my
They do
no.
at the drive-in.
I'm not at the drive-in. Look around.
That was supposed to make you feel like you were at the drive-in, and you can get ice cream and popcorn.
Okay.
You have to put on your bug repellent.
Let's talk about our friend Roger.
Roger. So, Roger Ebert watched this movie.
And of course he liked it because he's an idiot.
And Roger says...
3.5 stars out of 4.
3.5 out of 4. Do you want me to read his review?
Go for it.
He says, only someone with a heart of stone could fail to love a drunk like Arthur Bach,
I have a heart of stone,
who spends his wasted days in a poignant search for someone who will love him, will care for him,
get a job,
will inflame his passions,
get a nanny,
and soothe his pain, and who
Get a
most of
nurse.
all will laugh at his one-liners.
hire someone to.
Again, Arthur is constantly drunk. I don't know how anyone fell in love with him, because there was no point where he was sober.
But you know, Roger doesn't like movies that are actually funny, so
Right.
he obviously does not have a good sense of humor.
So before we get too deep into our opinions, we have 3 ways we can rate this movie. If you did not like the movie at all, we will rate it... I can't go for that. If you thought the movie was okay, not great, not horrible, the song everyone thinks is Tom Petty but is not, stuck in the middle. And if you...
Tom Petty is not alive, Jason.
That is true, neither is Dudley Moore. And if you loved the movie, then you can rate it... Simply Irresistible. So on a scale of Simply Irresistible to I Can't Go For That, how did you feel about this movie?
You first.
I'm going to say I found this movie to be... I didn't think there was any moral redeeming quality. However, it was at times amusing. I thought particularly Hodson the butler was entertaining. I thought his quips were funny, even if he didn't realize they were funny when he said them.
I think...
Go ahead.
No, I don't want to interrupt you with your little...
So it wasn't spectacular. It wasn't horrible. I'm not sure how it got all the Academy Award nods. Apparently, it takes more skill than I realized to act like you're drunk for 2 hours.
I think that I would be more of the I can't go for that because... This is a really long clip. Because his laughter and drunkenness drove me crazy.
I can understand that.
The best redeeming quality of the movie is the song. So I just don't want to watch it anymore.
I can understand that. I haven't seen this movie probably since the mid-'80s.
Me neither.
And I don't
want to do it again,
foresee myself watching it again. Though there was a 1985 Arthur II on the rocks.
Well, sometimes dumb things were done in the 80s.
And so, there is still another opportunity for us to see Arthur for the podcast.
I don't think there is.
You never know.
I'd have to get a lot of money to do so.
So, if someone wants to become a patron and throw some money down and say, hey, I really want you guys to watch Arthur 2 on the Rocks, then we might get stuck doing it. Otherwise, odds are you're not going to see that one on our watch list.
No.
So that is our take on this, and that brings us to our closing time.
It's closing time.
One last call for alcohol.
No, don't tell Arthur that.
Yeah, that would be the end of the movie, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. Start, end, middle.
So you can find us on the World Wide Web at www.schweetshiznitz.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Schweetshiznitz, or you can follow me at Gravy Boat Pirate. Where can they find you on Twitter?
Once in a while.
They can find you at Once in a While.
At Krista White 73.
We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/Schweet Shiznitz. And we're on Instagram at Schweet Shiznitz.
You can email us, sweetshiznitz@gmail.com.
We would very much appreciate it if you would share our posts and tweets. Let your friends and family and followers know about us. This is the best you can give us. The best gift you can give us, besides your financial support
And good reviews.
You can find Schweet Shiznitz on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find quality podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Your ratings and reviews make us more visible and help others to find us.
Schweet Shiznitz is paid for by listeners like you.
Listeners.
To be a supporter of Schweet Shiznitz, go to patreon.com/Schweet Shiznitz. Supporters will get access to bonus content and help shape the content of our show. We will also mention you on the air and send you gifts and surprises.
So, until next week, I am your host, Jason White.
And I am your co-host, Mrs. Gravy Boat Pirate.
Mrs. Gravy Boat Pirate. And we will see you or talk to you next week.
Adios.
Adios, and tell your mom we said goodbye.
Why are you pushing me and not telling your mama stuff?